Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here once again, I guess, but this is actually going to be my first video on Supergirl Season 3. Now obviously it's going to contain some stuff from Season 2, but it's leading on into Season 3, so I guess it's a Season 3 video. So we have just had this Season 2 finale for Supergirl hit our screens, and I thought it was pretty damn good. Like, I enjoyed it. I know there are a decent amount of people out there who weren't the biggest fans of it. I think like on IGN they gave it like a 5 point something, which I was surprised with. Which is fine, people can have their opinions. It did struggle when it came to certain, like wrapping up certain storylines. But overall, I had a pretty good time watching it. I enjoyed seeing Superman and stuff, but you can check out my review for it, which will be linked at the end of the video if you want to hear my complete thoughts on the finale in like more detail. But anyway, right at the end of the finale, we had two big things happen. One of which I will talk about in this video, which as you can tell by the title, is about who, or maybe I should be saying what, is in the pod we saw depart Krypton just after the younger versions of Kara and Kal-El did on the day Krypton died 35 years ago. And the second thing, which I will go through in a video later on in a few hours from when this video will go up, and that is what happened to Mon-El. Like, where did that portal lead him to? So keep your eyes out for that video later on. It should be out in like a few hours just before the Flash finale. So maybe like 3 hours before the Flash finale, and maybe like 3 or 4 hours after this video. But let's jump straight into the topic at hand. Feel free to leave who you think is in the pod if I do not mention it in this video, or just leave your feedback to my options as well in the comments. And as always, if you do go on to enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, and of course subscribe to the channel if you are new. Now, generally in videos where there are like multiple options on what or who or when something is involved in, I leave the most likely choice in my opinion for last, but in this video I will actually be going over it first, as there is way too much evidence supplied in that last scene for it like to not be this option. Like, I just can't see it not being this option. There will be some other possible options listed after it, but there is not much evidence supporting those options, so I thought, well, there's heaps supporting this one, so we'll go over it first. So this first option of mine, which I believe is extremely likely to be the thing, I guess you could say, within the pod we saw on Krypton, and it is a character known as Rain. Before I get into why I think it is Rain in the pod, I will briefly go over who Rain actually is. Rain in the comics was the leader and part of a group from the Supergirl comics known as the World Killers. Now, the World Killers were established before, but in like the New 52, I think this was the first time they were brought in, and Rain was the leader of them. As a child, Rain, along with 4 other aliens, were given great power through advanced science by Kryptonian scientists. Later on, Rain, along with 3 of the other World Killers, began a quest to find their homeland, but that other World Killer, as I said, there was 4 other aliens, and she, along with 3 of them, went away and began a quest, but there was 1 left, and that World Killer had actually disappeared by the time that they like woke up from whatever slumber they were in. And because he had disappeared without any real like explanation, a lot of readers began to theorize that this 5th World Killer that was with Rain and the others that disappeared was actually Doomsday. But that was neither confirmed or denied. It was just very heavily theorized because there was no real explanation to it. And the way that like Doomsday was created was sort of similar to how these like different aliens were given their special abilities and stuff like that. The only difference there is that Doomsday is like a non-stopping killing machine with no real thought. He doesn't talk, while a lot of these Doom Killers had like, you know, actual interaction skills, like they could talk to other people and, you know, they were sort of normal. Like, Doomsday's just a killing machine. As I said, Rain was introduced in the New 52 comics where she encountered Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl. They fought a couple of times, and due to being like pretty damn impressed by the fact that Kara lived through both of those encounters, Rain actually offered Kara a spot amongst the World Killers. Obviously, Kara turned this down, which didn't, you know, impress Rain too much. Now, this is something I could see happening next season with Rain. She would like want Kara to join her due to her power and control like not just Earth, but other planets. I really don't know if they would include the other World Killers who Rain was a leader of, who are Daymax, I think that's how you pronounce him, Flower of Heaven, and Perilous, I think that's his name. Maybe they could slowly join her as the season progresses, or they may have possibly been no longer associated with Rain by this point in time. Like, they could have been with her, but by this time that Rain's got to Earth, they're no longer with her. They might have died, Rain might have killed them, or they're just gone on their separate ways. Now, why am I so confident in Rain being the one who is in the pod in the final scenes of the Supergirl Season 2 finale? The first reason is the group that surrounded the pod. They did sort of look like cultists, but their building, crest that was like plastered everywhere, and their like mannerisms did make out that they were some decently sized section of Kryptonian society. And they sort of did seem like very intellectual. So I believe they are like rogue scientists, if that makes sense, who like didn't fit the mainstream views of the other scientists on Krypton. And or maybe the other scientists didn't agree with what they were doing, which was, you know, creating beings like like Rain. They refer to the baby as it, not him or her, almost making out as if whatever was put in that pod isn't natural. And the last and most obvious reason, in my opinion, as to why this is Rain in the pod, one of the hooded Kryptonians actually says it, as they were referring to it, will rain. They actually say it will rain, with a heavy focus on rain. Like rain like drags out for like a half a second longer than it should. Like go rewatch that scene and just tell me that it doesn't seem way too obvious that this is Rain.
Is it ready? It should survive the journey. It will grow strong on Earth. And then what? And then it will rain.
Like this could be the biggest misdirect of all time by the writers if this doesn't end up being Rain. But what they supplied at the end of that finale and in that scene just makes it way too obvious that it's Rain. Also, one of the biggest pluses, if it is Rain, she's a Supergirl villain. And that's one issue that a lot of people have with the show, that Supergirl's not facing her villain. She's facing like carbon copies of Superman villains or actual Superman villains like Metallo and stuff like that. So having Rain, who was a pretty badass like opponent as a Supergirl villain, like the big bad, would be great. Now I will quickly go over some of the other options that have been brought up by people since the airing of the finale. I saw it on Twitter and I also saw it in my YouTube comments, because in my review I did ask who do you think's in the pod and stuff like that. But the big one I saw was Doomsday. Now I understand why people said Doomsday, but it's not Doomsday. Now Rain, as I said, was a part of the World Killers, and there's a theory going around that Doomsday was the 5th World Killer, and Doomsday is known as a World Killer. But the way that the baby was acting and stuff like that, I really do not think it's Doomsday. Like, it is a possibility, but I think it's a small possibility that it is Doomsday. I just really cannot see them doing it. And once again, it's a Superman villain. Like, would they really have this massive threat? And, like, Superman would have to get involved, and they really have to have a villain that's really threatening, but it's one that Supergirl can take on by herself. Like, if Doomsday is involved, like, Superman's going to have to get involved as well, like, pretty damn heavily, and they really can't keep bringing him back in, even though it is cool seeing Superman pop in and out. It's just too big of a villain for Kara to handle on her own, so Doomsday would be just a no-go in my opinion. The other option is Hell, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Now, he was sent from Krypton by Jor-El before its destruction. So he like tried to rebuild Krypton, which got him into conflict with Supergirl as well as both Superman and Superboy. Now, this is possible, but obviously this person's been sent away as a baby. So unless this pod has got all the information, so when this baby does grow up, he gets all this information to rebuild Krypton, which, as I said, is possible. But Hell has like a House of L symbol on his chest and stuff like that, not the symbol that we see in that building that these hooded people are in. So I just can't see it being Hell. It's a possibility, but there's just little things going against it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I'd have to say no to this. And the last one is one that I thought was weird, and I just thought I'd mention it because I saw people talking about it, and that's Brainiac. And I think they've already established in this universe that Brainiac is already a thing, and Superman might have gone up against him already or had some altercations with him. So I'd have to say no to Brainiac, but I saw people talking about it, and yeah, no. Now we're going to go back to Rain for a second. I just think it's way too obvious that it's Rain. Like, just the things that they said, the way that it was all set up by those hooded figures sending them off. It will rain is actually said. And really, if Rain is involved, it allows them to do some, or possibly do some really cool World Killer stuff and involve more Krypton backstory. Like this, they might have given Rain some information, or maybe because she's maybe not natural and she's created, she might have like embedded knowledge within herself from her creators about Krypton and what happened. So that could be cool if that unfolded in next season. And one good thing is that Supergirl and her are pretty evenly matched. It's just that, like, she basically has Supergirl's powers, but with like a warrior sort of like mentality and skill set that they could do, which I think would be pretty damn cool to see play out next season. But I don't know, I might be on my own in that one, but just the thought of it actually gets me pretty damn excited. But thanks for watching, guys. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like on it. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think? I know I spent a lot of time on explaining Rain and stuff like that and sort of avoided the other options, but it just seems way too obvious that it's Rain, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just like blindsided by it all and just getting too sucked into it. But from what the character is, the fact that she is a Supergirl villain in the comics, it's just too good to be true. Oh, no, it's not too good to be true. Like, it's just way too good for them to not do. You know what I mean? So, yeah, let me know what you think of all of that. Do you think it could be Doomsday or Hell or Brainiac or someone else like that? Let me know if you think it's one of them. But, yeah, give me your feedback because I'm interested to see what everyone thinks. And, of course, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. As I said, I will have that Mon-El video out in a couple of hours, so keep your eyes out for that. And then my Flash stuff will follow on after that as well. But until the next video, guys, I'll catch you later. Goodbye.